Right now, it's ready, set, go as millions of people across the country take to the land, air, and water for Memorial Day. What the State Patrol wants travelers in Wisconsin to know.
Also, disturbing accounts about Madison Metropolitan School District spokesperson Tim Lamons come to light. What current and former employees are accusing him of.
And the employees at a Madison Starbucks say their employer is trying to stop them from unionizing, the tactics that corporate allegedly used on them. You're watching News 3 now at 6. Holiday travel is underway. Thousands in the area are heading out to their Memorial Day destinations. There you see it, a live look at traffic on the interstate just near 151 off East Wash. You can see the traffic heading north, pretty backed up right now, heavy traffic when all but unavoidable, as many of you are trying to get to those weekend destinations. And for many, it's quite the hassle. In some cases, a bit of a safety concern.
Tahlil Mohideen spoke with officials from the State Patrol about its plans to keep things going smoothly over the next few days. And she joins us live near the Beltline with those details. Tahlil.
Officials from State Patrol say they're planning ahead for what they can. But with the sheer number of drivers expected to be on the roads this weekend, traffic flow is going to be very unpredictable. So here's some things that you can do to help out with that. Plan on heading out early enough to give yourself room to wait in traffic so you can arrive both safe and on time. Before you do that, you'll want to make sure your car is in good shape to handle the trip. For their part, state troopers will have an increased presence with details around speed enforcement, OWIs, and the Click It or Ticket initiative.
We just want to mitigate all the bad or unsafe factors that could happen and clear the way for people trying to get where they're going.
They and other law enforcement agencies will also be on the lookout for anyone stranded. They say while getting a tow could take longer than usual, businesses are planning ahead. The worst of the traffic on the interstate is going to be heading north of Madison, especially as you get closer to Wisconsin Dells. And finally, weather should be one less thing you have to worry about impacting road conditions. But if that were to unexpectedly change, you'll want to factor that into your travel plans.
And let's check on that first warn forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti.
Well, I hope it doesn't change because we've got a perfect forecast for the Memorial Day weekend. Let's start out by looking at visible cloud track. There is hardly a cloud around the entire northern part of the Midwest. But with the air being dry, it got cool last night. Here in Madison, we dropped to 37. Camp Douglas is down to 26. Most locations were in the upper 30s to the lower 40s. But take a look at where the high temperatures have gone. About 40 degrees warmer. Here in Madison, 73 was the high. It was 77 in La Crosse and 79 in Boscobel. And current temperatures are still well into the 70s away from Lake Michigan. Closer to the lake, Milwaukee right now at 62 degrees. And that'll be the case over the next day or two before southwesterly winds get rid of the lake breeze. Dane County right now is 72 Madison, 74 in Middleton, and 72 in Edgerton. Look for skies to be mostly clear this evening. Temperatures dropping into the middle 50s by late evening. I'll take a look at the Memorial Day weekend forecast in more detail and how much it'll warm up for next week in just a few minutes.
Gary, thank you. And Blanchardville residents are being asked to boil their water. This after a test showed there may be E. coli bacteria in the water supply. For now, residents should heat water being used for cooking, drinking, food preparation, and dishwashing to a rolling boil for at least a minute. People should also use caution when using water for bathing or hand washing.
To an update now on that recycling center fire in Portage. The fire department there says the fire is out, but many of the facility's buildings and equipment are considered a total loss. In a Facebook post this afternoon, officials say the fire was considered extinguished about 26 hours after it started on Wednesday. 2 firefighters sustained minor injuries during the course of the call. A cause of the fire has not yet been released. The fire was the second at the facility in 10 days.
A developing story from the Madison School District after a complaint against Communications Director Tim Lamons went public today, alleging incidents of bullying and harassment. The complaint, which was signed by 3 current and former Madison School District employees, includes a timeline of dozens of incidents where several co-workers cited Lamons as a reason for leaving the district. The records also outline allegations of him bullying a Madison Police Department public information officer and calling a local journalist a, quote, pig of a journalist. We reached out to Lamont about the complaint and received an email from him. In it, Lamont says, in part, quote, all allegations in the complaint were thoroughly investigated and found to be without merit. I do categorically deny all of the allegations, end quote. For more details on the complaint, you can head to channel3000.com. Next Thursday, workers at the Starbucks on State Street will vote on whether to unionize.
But now, less than a week away from the election, they say Starbucks is trying to convince them not to. News 3 Now's Braden Ross joins us with more. Braden?
Yeah, the employee I spoke with today was very clear. He thinks what's been happening is just plain union busting.
I think it was a long time coming.
State Street Starbucks shift manager Matthew Cartwright says this decision was an easy one.
I mean, it was pretty quick for us. I mean, we got all of our union cards signed in a week. That typically takes a month.
On April 18th, he and his coworkers filed a petition to unionize their store. Now they're looking forward to next Thursday when they'll vote to make it official. But Cartwright says Starbucks won't let that happen easily.
When a public statement had been made about possibly unionizing, that my job was directly threatened.
He says once the petition was official, things at work started to change.
And pretty soon after, we started seeing an increased presence of upper management, kind of stopping in more, would literally just appear in the store sometimes to say hello.
Starbucks says they regularly send representatives to stores ahead of union votes to talk employees through the process.
In reality, what this looked like was this person from HR pulling someone aside, against their will in some cases, pulling them into our upper cafe, literally into a corner, in which to basically tell them that they are wrong for unionizing.
Cartwright says his coworkers left the conversations feeling intimidated.
They would say, you know, I know you really rely on this medical care benefit, or I know you really rely on your college benefit. Wouldn't it be a shame if that just went away? Wouldn't that be awful for you?
But he says their resolve is still strong.
When your goal is simply to be respected, to be treated right, and to have democracy, you can't be bought, and you can't be sold, and you can't be intimidated. I fully expect on June 1st that we are going to have an overwhelming, if not unanimous, victory.
Now, Starbucks responded to the claims in a statement to News 3 Now, saying in part, quote, the allegations made by Workers United are inaccurate and unfounded. We respect the right of all partners to make their own decisions about union representation without fear of reprisal or retaliation.
Braden, thank you. A Janesville man is being committed for 40 years after being found not guilty of attempted homicide by reason of mental disease or defect. Asher Spitz was also ordered to have involuntary administration of psychotropic medications. Earlier this year, the 19-year-old pleaded guilty but was deemed not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect for stabbing a woman multiple times on October 19th of last year. A man who helped pull down the Hans Christian Heg statue outside the state capitol during protests back in 2020 has been sentenced to 6 months in jail. Kelsey Nelson was sentenced for his role in damaging the Heg statue and also for looting a nearby jewelry store about a month earlier. Nelson was also ordered to pay $5,000 to the jewelry store and $2,500 to the State Department of Administration for the damage to the Heg statue. Now, most of the original Heg statue has been restored, but the head was stolen and had to be recreated.
As the nation commemorates Memorial Day this weekend, flags will fly at half-staff across Wisconsin tomorrow in honor of a Navy seaman who was killed during the Pearl Harbor attack. David Joseph Riley of Judah was one of more than 50 Wisconsinites who died in the 1941 attack. He was serving as a Navy seaman, second class, on the USS Oklahoma. Riley was posthumously awarded a Purple Heart, the American Campaign Medal, and the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal after his remains were identified in 2021. He will be buried with full military honors in Judah tomorrow. Today, WPS employees and their families are honoring U.S. military personnel and veterans who have died with a walk to remember. The event was held on the main WPS campus in Monona. All participants were able to sign a banner with the names of those they are remembering this Memorial Day weekend.
It's our duty to remember those that can't be here today. You know, 99% of the country doesn't serve, and that 1% that's out there that's in harm's way, not everybody comes home, and who's going to remember them if it's not for us? So.
The event drew more than 24 walkers.
Coming up on News 3 Now at 6, a museum in central Wisconsin is being urged to return indigenous artifacts and remains to their respective tribes.
Plus, Memorial High School students showing off a variety of cultures from around the world. We'll be right back. You're
watching News 3 Now at 6.
A growing number of Wisconsin institutions are facing pressure to return Native American remains and other culturally significant items to tribes. Inside the Oshkosh Public Museum are dozens of artifacts from members of our First Nations, including human remains. The Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act requires federally funded institutions such as universities and museums to return remains and cultural items.
Our goal is to be successful with the tribes so that their important cultural heritage can go home to the community where they belong.
The Oshkosh Museum has held 58 human remains and 197 associated funerary objects since 1924. As of today, 6 of those human remains and 62 of those associated funerary objects have been returned. The museum's most recent repatriation process was completed in 2020.
Students at Memorial High School putting on a multicultural showcase for their peers today. During the showcase, students talked about their different cultures and shared traditions with each other. It started when a teacher gathered leaders from multiple culture clubs to put the showcase together.
It just shows people that there's a ton of different cultures and ethnicities at the school, and it shows the importance of learning about other people and different lives and how people live their lives every day today.
Students hope to do something similar in the future, hopefully next year. After the break, Bratfest returns to the Alliant Energy Center. We'll hear from the son of the man who started it all 40 years ago.
Also, the Tenny Locks are extending its hours for the weekend. Find out how long they'll be open for this holiday weekend.
Plus, what you can expect from Mother Nature during the holiday weekend. Gary has your complete forecast after a short break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
The Henry Vila Zoo introducing a new commissioner with deep ties to Madison today. Jasmine Banks will join the 7-member Zoo Commission, which is meant to serve as an oversight body for zoo operations. Banks replaces Jonathan Becker, whose term ended last year. Banks works at Operation Fresh Start and is the founder and CEO of her own natural body care company. Well, check this out. A bald eagle hit by a vehicle in Kewanee yesterday was saved by police and wildlife rescue workers. A rescue group says the eagle didn't have any serious injuries other than a dented beak. As a precaution, the group took the eagle back to their facility for further evaluation. When deemed healthy, the rescue group will release the eagle back to its nesting area.
Right now, many people in Madison are celebrating the unofficial start of summer by downing some brats. The world's largest Bratfest kicked off this morning. It runs through Sunday at Willow Island at Alliant Energy Center. The Memorial Day weekend tradition raises money to benefit over 100 local charities.
I don't think my dad ever realized that what he started would become what it is today. You know, it started with a Weber grill, a table and 3 chairs. 41 years later, we'll probably have 125,000 people go through Willow Island.
And since back in 1983, Bratfest has sold more than 4 million bratwursts to help raise almost $2 million.
Well, thanks to Memorial Day weekend, there's going to be extended hours at Tenny Locks on Lake Mendota. Tonight, the lock will close at 11 o'clock and then open tomorrow morning at 9 before closing once again at 11 p.m. On Sunday, the lock will be open from 10 to 10 and Memorial Day from 10 to 8. Currently, Yahara Lake levels are near summer minimum and within DNR water level orders.
Where you may be used to boating, there may be specific hazards that you may not have been aware of in the past. We have over 200 buoys out on the system marking both safe travel lanes, slow no wake areas, and of course hazards.
The remaining 2 locks at Babcock on Lake Wabisa and La Follette on Lake Kaganza remain closed to navigation due to reduced outflow leaving the Yahara Lakes. Dane County's long-term goal is to minimize flood risk through sediment removal in the Yahara River, but this activity has not contributed to lower lake levels.
Plenty of sunshine and warmer weather heading throughout the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Here's Gary with your complete forecast.
Oh, that's it. I'm done. That just pretty much took care of the forecast. Take a look at the Memorial Day weekend forecast, and I challenge you to find another weekend like this that has such nice weather. Tomorrow, 77, mostly sunny. Sunday, 81 degrees, partly sunny. Memorial Day Monday, partly sunny, warm, 83, but with low humidity, it will feel very, very nice. 3 things you need to know in the forecast. Seasonable weather, temperatures in the mid-70s today, upper 70s tomorrow. Then for Memorial Day weekend, lots of sunshine and temperatures warm up for next week. Should be in around 90 degrees by the middle of next week with dry weather for pretty much the entire week except for Thursday and Friday, and even then the chances for rain are very slim. In fact, you can see not a drop of rain showing up anywhere within about 500 miles of Madison. Oh, there's a couple of showers up in northern North Dakota moving to southern Canada. That's about the closest rain. You add up the projected precipitation over the next 10 days. This takes us through Sunday of next weekend, and we're looking at maybe 1/10 of an inch or less across much of southern Wisconsin, maybe a little bit more in case a couple of showers and thunderstorms drift a little bit more southward out of the La Crosse area. But the heavier rains of 1 to 1.5 inches, which is about average for this time of year over a 10-day period, will stay up across northwestern Wisconsin. So it will be dry and it will be warm. Those temperatures warming up to around 90 by the middle of next week and then dropping back into the low to mid 80s for next weekend. But again, the precipitation chances are going to be pretty slim. In fact, planning your night tonight across Dane County, low 46 in Verona, 46 in Cross Plains, 44 in Roxbury with mostly clear skies across the rest of southern Wisconsin, maybe down to 39 degrees in Camp Douglas. Last night they were down to 26 degrees, but 45 for the low in Prairie du Chien, 42 degrees in Lone Rock, and 48 degrees for the overnight low temperature in Monroe. For tomorrow, look for skies to be mostly sunny. It'd be very mild, high temperature at 77, and those winds out of the east at a gentle 6 to 12 miles per hour. Lakeshore areas, if you are having travel plans tomorrow going closer to Lake Michigan, temperatures there will probably still be in the 60s. But as we look at our first warned 7 to 10-day forecast, you can see those temperatures ramping up, but you don't see any precipitation symbols on here. I did put a slight chance for a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon and evening for Thursday and Friday, but that's about it. Otherwise, we're looking at just mainly dry conditions. And again, those temperatures, summer-like warmth for the middle of next week, but the humidity levels will stay low and drop even more as we head into the latter part of next weekend and into the start of the following week. As we check out first warned traffic, a lot of people heading northward for the weekend. Right now, the Madison area looking pretty good. The Beltline, no problems there. Have been seeing some slowdowns northbound, of course, on I-3990 from the Beltline interchange northward and then over toward the area around the airport. To the south of Madison, right now, I-3990 looking pretty good. Of course, that has been widened. Just seeing some minor slowdowns eastbound on US 12 into southeastern Wisconsin. North of Madison, though, we are seeing some slowdowns on I-3990, 94, heading out of Dane County into Columbia County, but those dissipate as you head into central Wisconsin and as well as northeastern Wisconsin on US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Warned Traffic.
Soccer fans in Madison will have another way to watch Forward Madison FC matches this year for free. Television Wisconsin will be airing 5 matches this season, and here is the slate of games that will be airing. You can find TW with an over-the-air antenna on channel 3.2 or on Spectrum streaming apps and DirecTV on channel 14. Matches will also be streamed on channel 3000's Forward Madison FC page and on the free channel 3000 Plus streaming app.
An 18-year-old at the University of Wisconsin, or soon-to-be golf commit, caddied for Steve Stricker today. Find out who that is coming up next in sports. There's something truly electric about an older athlete playing like they're still in their prime. Let's start with LeBron James. He continues breaking barriers at 38. We couldn't believe it when Tom Brady won a Super Bowl at 43, but what about Joe Pavelski at 38 years old? The former Badger continues making history. Last night, he scored his 73rd career NHL postseason goal, passing Alexander Ovechkin for the most among active players. He scored 9 goals in 12 playoff games so far this year, the most ever by a 38-year-old. And on the brink of elimination, this goal last night extended his Dallas Stars postseason run. It's one of 4 game winners in this postseason alone for Pavelski, who admits it just means more at 38.
Yeah, you probably appreciate them a little bit more. They feel just as good as they did as some of the other ones. It was a tremendous feeling for sure, and glad we can, you know, play another game and go from there and try to extend it.
When Steve Stricker won his 5th senior major title a few weeks ago, the Edgerton native was on top of the world. Only problem, his daughter Izzy, it was her birthday. He made up for it this time around, though, at the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, inviting the 18-year-old University of Wisconsin golf commit to caddy for him this weekend.
Growing up, I never went really on a ton of trips with them, and so spending quality time like this with golf around us. We do it all the time, but this means a lot more.
Here's Dad out on the links. We pick things up on hole 14. Strick looking for birdie. Easy money here to sink it to get under 7 under. And then on 15, check out this masterpiece. Stricker shooting for an eagle. The veteran has such a nice feel close to the pin. And this one, it'll drop right in. He'd finish the day at 7 under, sitting in 3rd place. Through 50 games, the Brew Crew sit atop the NL Central with a 27-23 record. They'll have Freddie Peralta on the hill for the second of a 4-game set with the Giants tonight, and we'll have those cheese-filled highlights for you at 10. And just under 100 days before the Luke Fickell era is officially underway, the Badger coach added Jack Cooper as his new senior defensive analyst today. Cooper spent the last 3 years in the FCS as Rhode Island's defensive coordinator and replaces Michael Caputo, one of just a few members left over from Paul Christ's staff.
Nice to see Stricker's daughter going to UW, not make the mistake he did of going to Illinois. Stay home. We like that. Great weekend to hit the links if that's on your plan.
Yeah, not a cloud in the sky, really. There's the live view from the WISC Skycam. You can see Blue Mountains out in the distance there. The live view from the Platteville Queen Bee Radio Skycam, pretty blue skies. Temperatures in the middle 70s. Closer to Lake Michigan, though, a little cooler. Milwaukee at 62, 69 as far east as Juneau, but here in Dane County, 74 in Edgerton, 72 in Deerfield, and 73 degrees in Cross Plains.
All right, Gary, thank you, and thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.